Yes, good morning. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm Victoria Terrano from BPIE, and it's your Brussels-based think tank, and we work on policies on energy efficiency. And today I will present what we're working on together with my colleague Gudrun Brewer on the stakeholder engagement strategy of the eSafe project. And I think the organizers of this conference made a really great job in coupling the presentations, because I saw a lot of common traits with the previous two presentations of Alejandra and Margot on social housing and industrialization and scaling up and prefabrication. So I will touch upon these things too, and I'm really looking forward for the Q&A session afterwards if we have time. eSafe project is an H 2020 project, and the full name is Energy and Seismic Affordable Renovation Solutions. So it aims to deliver a renovation system that will be market ready, but the innovative part of it that it provides an integrated solution of both seismic and energy renovation. So we're 12 partners from 8 European countries. It's a nice mix of public institutions like universities, research centers, and NGOs like BPIE, and then also private companies that actually fabricate these elements. So it's a nice collaboration between private and public, NGO. So as I mentioned before, the technological side of the project is to really develop and test this system that it's really integrated. It focuses on reinforcing both the structure. It's aimed at renovations in seismic prone regions in Europe. And I will not get into all the technical details of the elements, such as like the panels, the E panel, ECLT, and this exoskeleton, like this EXOS and other systems. But the goal of this solution is to reduce the primary energy demand after renovation at least by 80%. Of course, to decrease the seismic vulnerability of the building, and this with a renovation process that causes the least disturbance for residents. And of course, it aims also to improve the aesthetics, the facade of the building, and finally to improve the thermal indoor air quality and the thermal comfort of the residents. But my presentation, of course, will not focus on the technological innovations, but rather on the free process-based renovations of the project. So basically, there are free process-based innovation, the co-design protocol at the building level that engages the residents, then one-stop shop financing entity, and then the stakeholder engagement protocol at urban level. So what exactly is the eSafe stakeholder engagement strategy? As I mentioned earlier, this runs at various levels, at various scales, and the first one is the building scale, the on-site level. So we really then there is a real pilot. We're really renovating. We're renovating a building in Catania, but there will be 2 other virtual pilots. So we will engage the residents of these buildings in the co-design process, and then there is the urban level, the local platforms. So engaging the urban stakeholders in these locations, in these 3 locations, and then there is the EU level. We have an advisory board and the EU stakeholder forum. I will detail it a little bit more, all these 3 levels. So when we talk about the on-site level, as I mentioned, we have the real pilot in Catania, but we will launch soon in March a call for 2 other virtual pilots. So we're looking for buildings that are situated in Europe in seismic-prone regions, and we're mainly looking for social housing buildings or public buildings, for example, schools. And the applicants will benefit from having a detailed survey and a 3D model of their building, and the technical solutions will be adapted to that building and the local context with the co-design of the residents. So we really encourage public authorities or social housing to apply. Also, of course, private residential administrators of residential buildings. So when we talk about what the stakeholder engagement at the building scale in our main pilot in Catania, our colleagues, our partners from University of Catania, of course, they are doing this work. They are there on the ground. They really engage the residents well in advance before the project even started. So they got the residents on board. They really engage them in the co-design workshops, and they try to find together solutions to all the various issues, not only technical but also social and many other aspects. They also provide them a really guided renovation process, something similar to one-stop shop services. So they really guide them throughout the process with the technical solutions, also bureaucracy, also applying for finance, and so on and so forth. Also, as I mentioned before, besides the building scale, then we have the urban scale. So at the urban scale, there are other stakeholders that are interested in really scaling up the renovation, and we also engage with stakeholders in Catania. So there is the local platform Catania, which now there are already 94 stakeholders. This work is again managed mainly by University of Catania, and they really have the endorsement of the local authorities from the Sicily region, and they organize a kickoff meeting of the local platform. They organize 31 in-depth interviews about really the barriers and the drivers of the renovation, and they really try to find these actors that will act like multipliers of really encouraging deep renovation in the city and in the region. And then they will also want to develop a crowd mapping tool where they identified the buildings that can be target for the renovation. And then similar things we will organize in the other two virtual pilots. So in the cities where we will select the buildings, and of course the different social, financial, and market institutional conditions are different, their barriers are different, and solutions are different, and they have to be, of course, adjusted. So we will develop based on the literature review of stakeholder engagement methods and techniques, and based on the experience from the real pilot in Catania, we'll develop a stakeholder engagement protocol, and then we will test this protocol in the other two virtual pilots to further improve it. So as I mentioned, in order to engage with stakeholders and develop this protocol, we first made a literature review. I do not have time to get really in the details of all the methods and the techniques, but there are, like, for example, storytelling or backcasting and Delphi methods and many others. So we really looked at studies who tested these techniques in practice in similar projects regarding energy or energy efficiency. So when we talk about the stakeholders at the European level, of course, in order to scale up renovation, we have to have also different enabling conditions at the EU level. So we have to engage with the EU policymakers and stakeholders in order to have this discussion, for example, how to get on board dwellers from the social housing, and how to tackle the fuel poverty, and how to really I forgot to mention one important aspect of our real pilot in Catania. It is a social housing building, and we really try to focus on the project on social housing and really either social housing or homeowners from low-income neighborhoods, and which are most often the fuel-poor homeowners. And we really tried to get on board the people who did not benefit from the traditional like subsidies which were offered until now, which usually go to middle and upper income classes. And besides engaging with policymakers, of course, which is the EU Stakeholder Forum, we have the advisory board, which is a group of experts who follow the progress of the project, and we have yearly feedback from them. I would, for now, besides getting expert advice on the project, we also try to have this discussion with the stakeholders and experts on energy renovation and seismic renovation, and have this dialogue and this exchange of information and feedback. So we're trying to really build a community. Of course, we mainly focus on the countries which are seismic prone. Here you can see the map of seismicity of Europe, and then the map where we have our stakeholders so far. So these are our target countries. We again have a nice mix of stakeholders from various fields, from the public sector, policymakers, from researchers, from NGO associations, and so on and so forth. I would like to encourage you to join our stakeholder community if you are interested in either the technical aspects of energy renovation together integrated with the seismic one, either if you are one of the stakeholders who can contribute to scaling up renovation in these seismic prone countries. So if you're this multiplier actor, so everyone is welcome in our forum. You can join it via our website, on the SAFE website, or we have recently created also a LinkedIn group where everyone can post news about seismic and energy renovation, and we can have this dialogue and exchange with experience and ideas and best practices. So to conclude, as I mentioned, the main focus of the project is to have an integrated solution for seismic and energy renovation. But in order to scale it up, we need free process based innovations, and this is the co-design protocol at the building scale, and really engaging the residents in the co-design and adjusting these technical solutions to their needs. Then there is the one-stop shop idea of guiding the residents and also financing the renovation, and giving them also aid on how to access subsidies and how to deal with bureaucracy and so many other aspects. So really guided renovation experience. And then at the urban scale, we try to engage with the local stakeholders. We will also have a stakeholder engagement protocol based on our free pilots. And our main focus, as I mentioned earlier, is to get on board the social housing associations or homeowners from low-income neighborhoods, the few poor homeowners who usually do not benefit from the traditional programs and subsidies, in order to make a just transition for everyone and to really scale up the renovation in these seismic-prone regions. And when we developed this process-based innovations or these protocols, we have these iterative processes. We start with the theory, with the literature review. We pilot tested in our real pilot in Catania, and then we develop the guidelines, the protocol. Then we will again test them and apply them to the virtual pilots, and then refine these guidelines to have the final protocol. So this is all from my side, and I would like to again encourage homeowners or housing associations or local authorities to apply to be one of our virtual pilots, and looking forward for the next discussion, or if there are some questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Victoria. I can see that I might be able. Yeah, so we can both. You can see me also, and the people at home also. There is a question from the Q&A that was posed here, and it says, considering you are virtually in the Netherlands now. Oh, it's gone. Someone made it invisible.
No, it's okay.
Can you see it? There was a question, but now it disappeared. I see it again. Yeah. Considering you are virtually in the Netherlands now, have you considered Groningen, which is the north of the Netherlands, as a pilot site? There are additionally earthquakes induced by the previous energy transition to natural gas, and renovation is government funded for this reason. Are you aware of Groningen and the challenges they have, and did you consider it?
Yes, because one of our my colleague Rutger Peru is from the Netherlands, and he always discusses about this region. And indeed, we don't only focus on like really seismic countries, but also some seismic regions. So I do encourage people from Groningen to apply to our call for the virtual pilot. And indeed, actually, we do have also our partners. One of the producers of the elements are based in the Netherlands, and our next project meeting will be in the Netherlands. So there is a very nice collaboration with the Netherlands, and yes, indeed. Even if like we are aware that even if some countries like the Netherlands is not considered a seismic country, there are some regions within this country that could be.
Yeah, great. And there's another question in the Q&A. And did you post that to Alejandra or not? Because it's also about combining integrated seismic and structural reinforcement. But I thought maybe it's good to talk about these seismic things. But maybe we go first to the final speaker, and then we have some time left that you and Alejandra can maybe also discuss the other question that's here.